I now recognize the representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ranking Member Keating, also wonderful.
Mr.
I'm
Chairman,
sorry.
could you repeat your introduction again, please?
Yes, we have set the standard on the floor of the House, and I'm simply...
What is that standard, Mr. Chairman? Would you repeat what you just said when you introduced a duly elected representative from the United States of America? Please.
I will. The representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Mr. Chairman, you are out of order. Mr. Chairman, have you no decency? I've come to know you a little bit, but this is not decent.
We will continue this
You
hearing.
will not continue it with me unless you introduce a duly elected representative the right way.
This hearing is adjourned.
Let's move on, Josh, to the Democrats claiming to be the party for women, for women's rights. But let's see how they voted when it came time to protect girls and women's sports from male athletes identifying as women. Every single Democrat voted against the rights of women here. And not only, I would argue, is this position morally putrid, it's also a fringe position. It's an extreme position because around 4 in 5 Americans are clear on this issue, as even CNN reported.
Transgender female athletes in women's sports, only 18% of the country says that they should be, in fact, allowed to participate in women's sports. Compare this to the opposition. I mean, my goodness gracious, 79%. You rarely get 79% of the country to agree on anything, but they do, in fact, agree on the idea of opposing transgender female athletes in women's sports. But it's not just the here and now, Laura. It's not just the here and now. What we're actually seeing is a trend on this particular issue, and it's going in the direction of opposition.
Josh, that trend is interesting. In 2021, we had 62% who were opposed. Now the figure is 79, and I suspect it's even more than that, because this is one of the issues where people have been shamed for holding a very much a common sense mainstream view.
Yeah, look, it's an 80-20 issue, as you said there. I mean, it's fascinating here in the States, Rita, because you see even very left-wing politicians like Gavin Newsom of California, who had this widely watched interview with Charlie Kirk on Gavin Newsom's own new podcast this week. And even Gavin Newsom, who literally became the first politician in California history to issue same-sex marriage licenses, back in the day, whenever that was. I mean, even this guy who was ahead of the curve on that issue there, he's saying that it's now deeply unfair when it comes to biological males competing against females in women's athletic competition. Now, to be clear, no one should believe Gavin Newsom for a second. The guy's a snake. He's a total liar there. He's trying to gear up for a 2028 presidential run. I wish him nothing but the worst there. But this is yet another losing issue for the Democratic Party there. And Rita, this continues to be the structural issue for the Democrats. I wrote about this in my most recent column, which is that you have this chasm between the Democratic elites, which are in total lunacy la land when it comes to the open borders issue, when it comes to the transgender issue there, when it comes to any of these other issues, the Green New Deal, environmental regulation, let's not frack, let's not drill for natural gas. They're in total la land. I mean, even the median Democrat, as we just saw in that CNN graphic there, does not agree with their own party's elites. So unless and until they can find some way to repudiate their own party's elites, the ladies of the View, the Barack Obama wing of the party there, unless and until they can do that, they're just going to continue to flounder in irrelevance. But again, as someone who wishes them nothing but the worst, I say, go on.
And I think you're 100% right about Gavin Newsom. I think he's just reading the room. He's seeing how fringe and unpopular these positions are, and he's just trying to position himself as some sort of centrist when you only have to look at California to see that's not the case.